Mr. Adani and his company, the Adani Jharkhand Power Limited, is building a power plant in the Godda district of Jharkhand, which is adjoining Bangladesh. And this great Adani ripoff is, bringing coal from the indigenous or aboriginal lands in Queensland, taking it to, the Abbott Point port in Australia, bringing it to Adani's own port in Dhamra, in Orissa, then lugging it to Godda in Jharkhand, producing power and transmitting that power to Bangladesh. So this is the biggest brainwave that they have thought of in terms of ripping off money everywhere, and also, kind of creating a lot of problems for people across the world. So these are some scenes in Godda, like how they started putting up their board, fenced the place. People protested. Some of these people are those people who were those who are now filed cases on the land acquisition, which was irregular. And this fourth girder was laid now, amidst the lockdown. So you can see whether it's the pandemic and the lockdown. It doesn't apply to Adani. And he had been going on, and now very recently, you might have seen a wonderful short video that Carbon Copy had made, and I'll share that after this meeting also, which showed how the Adanis have kind of continued work during this period. Then what is it that the real problems right on the ground? Apart from the fact that this was a land where in the 1800s, the Adivasis of that area, the Santalis, fought hard, and what was called the Hull Revolution. The Sidho Kanu brothers were killed in that process. And the British realized this and brought on the protective law called the Santal Pargana Tenancy Act, where no Adivasi was allowed to sell land to anyone, any outsider. And even if they had to sell between themselves, they had to approach the government and inform them. But this law was diluted, and they sought a opinion from the Advocate General, who gave them a favorable kind of a letter to start the land acquisition. So the land acquisition is one major kind of irregularity that has happened in this case. The other one, which I have been pursuing very closely along with our legal team, the Legal Initiative for Forests and Environment, has been the process of granting the environmental clearance. The project site, is not according to our contention. Was the project site was not according to the siting guidelines, which said that if it is fertile agricultural land, you will not use it. But this was fertile agricultural land. They had no permission to withdraw water from the local river. The pre-feasibility report said that they will take water from the Ganges, but the environmental assessment said that they will take water from the Chir River. They provided, they said that they will import coal from Australia, Indonesia, but not knowing what the quality of the coal would be, they had already predicted what kind of air pollution would be there. And they had not even disclosed what will be the mode and route by which it will be. The fuel will come to the plant. But despite this, the Environmental Appraisal Committee started processing it. And the EIA Resource and Response Center, which is a joint initiative of Life, Environics, and Peace Institute, we had raised this issue way back in 2016 when the appraisal process started. as the appraisal process was going on, they went on to give various kind of answers every time. They said they are going to do the baseline study despite the process, despite the terms of reference not being granted, saying that it will be at their risk and it's at own cost. And the committee also agreed that if it is going to be at their own cost, as if in these cases the government or somebody else gives them money, but it just said the committee agreed for the same at the project proponent's own cost. So without applying its mind on numerous aspects, the what the appraisal committee started focusing was on the water, whether water was available or not. So we went on pursuing the whole issue of water, and they persisted that they were going to take water from the Cheer River. Then what was very crazy was when we proved that there was no water in the Cheer River, they said that uh, they would make a big reservoir, pump water during the monsoon period, and store water. And how will they store? They will make a 441-acre reservoir, and which will be like 1 meter bund will be created, and they will fill water and store water for it. Then we proved that even that would not be sufficient because there will be evaporation, and then they said they'll put up solar panels on top of that 441 acres of reservoir. When once we proved that was also not possible, and then it was actually requiring a much larger reservoir and allow for a lot of evaporation. In the meantime, they had approached to take water from the Ganges. So though there was an intention to take water from the Ganges, which the pre-feasibility report had hinted, they had just dragged on this idea of a Cheer River simply because they wanted the process to go on. Otherwise, right from the beginning, there would have been big hue and cry as to why Ganges water is being given for this project. So now, as a fait accompli, now a lot of things have happened. Now give us water from the Ganges was a ploy that they had played in this. And what has happened, at the time of and in 2017, the clearance was granted, and then we went to the court, to the Green Tribunal, almost immediately challenging this environmental clearance.
From 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. So since then, it dragged on. What is now essentially the situation is on 3rd of August, the Green Tribunal has asked them to answer several questions that we have raised, and has also said if they are not able to answer, why the work should not be stopped. So that, which is our prayer, saying that you stop work so that we can solve all these problems. So let us hope on the 3rd day. We definitely know that they don't have answers for it, but we also know that they are powerful enough to do other things, crazy things to enable that. And I'll just run through rest of my slides saying that SEPCO is the EPC contractor. The boiler technology is from Babcock and Wilcox in Beijing. The turbo generators are from General Electric. And this is an example of how, clearances are granted for him. The forest rights, issue is an important thing in India. But when it came to the railway line, it says that, it is making use of the relaxation and linear projects. And therefore, this forest clearance is given. And it also says that, a record of consultations is kept, and the Gram Sabha has given consent, and this consent is not for this particular project, right? And similarly, when the Regulatory Commission on cross-border electricity regulations were coming in, the Adanis had made certain suggestions in the amendment, And if you see, they said that projects of their kind should be kept away from it. And what has happened is the CERC in 2018 said that Adani Power and APP, it's clarified that the generating exclusively to any particular independent shall not come under the scope of this regulation. So you find that the regulations that are meant for everybody doesn't apply for Adani. So the list of scams is actually endless, from airports to seaports, from coal to diamond. Someday you must all listen to Paranjay on that. But like a prominent ruling party MP here called Subramaniam Swamy says that, he calls him the greatest trapeze artist who's hoodwinking the bank with his debts, and yet he goes scot free. This is the latest ravage of Adani. This is the Neyveli Lignite Corporation's project where they became the mine development organization 2 years before the project even started. They were given this rights. And so this is how, Adani is one of the three scrap dealers of 80s who have made it big in India. The Adani, the Agarwal, the Anil Agarwal and Lakshmi Mittal. And many of them, have, such big enterprises. But I can tell you that, uh, one brick down this edifice, everything will fall, and that is how these enterprises are. And please, look at the Avaz petition that we have put in along with the local communities. Let us take out the bricks of this big edifice. Thank you very much.